All right, I'm meteorologist John Dawson, and this is the Fox 26 YouTube Tropical Update, giving you the forecast for what we expect across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico. And things are going to still remain fairly quiet for the most part. So that's the good news. But there's definitely some things to talk about as we dive into a little bit more of a discussion. You'll, of course, remember this is that frontal boundary that moved through across much of the nation, bringing some fantastic weather to the Houston area, allowing some cooler air to reach other portions of the Gulf Coast. And the Caribbean is still fairly quiet, nothing organized. We'll put it that way. That boundary does allow for a spot for some showers and some storms to try to form a little bit. Another little tropical wave or so out further into the eastern side of things. But look how quiet things are in the Gulf of Mexico. There is just not a lot happening out there. And I'm not going to complain about that. This is definitely the time of the year when we would expect to not see a lot happening in the Gulf of Mexico. We would normally expect maybe something to be forming in the Caribbean or over here in the western portions of the Atlantic. But those areas also not seeing anything organized. When we take a look at the bigger picture of the Atlantic, there are another front again with some storms. There's a low pressure system we're going to talk about in a minute. Here's that other front. Dr. Jim did a good job on yesterday's YouTube update of talking about everything sort of happening around this low pressure system that the Hurricane Center has been tracking. But what's new for today, again, this is the new area that the Hurricane Center has been talking about. We've had this area of storms that, kind of more or less come off of the coast of Africa. And nothing organized whatsoever, but beginning to see this broad area of low pressure try to become a little bit more organized. And so within the next 2 to 5 days, or next 5 days, I should say, the Hurricane Center giving that about a 30% chance that it could develop into something tropical. As it possibly would move a little bit further out, I think the winds will be less favorable for something to develop. So we'll kind of just sort of keep an eye on it. But the Hurricane Center, again, this is new from them. What is not new is this particular area where you see the X is where that low pressure is. This is actually that nor'easter that was off into the northeastern portions of the U.S. And, kind of that first big blast of a nor'easter for those folks. And it has meandered out into the Atlantic, not showing any real possibilities or strong possibilities until today when they become a little bit more favored. And what's going to happen is it's going to continue to kind of meander a little bit down to the southeast and then is expected to kind of kick back up a little bit. So that's why this shape of the area of where it might form into something has a little bit of a different shape to it a little bit. So we're now looking at a 60% chance in the next couple of days, so it does look like those chances are increasing. 70% chance in the more like the 3-day range. That's why the 5 days is there. This would most likely become a subtropical system, so it's not going to have all the characteristics to be a true tropical system, but that would definitely give it the possibility of receiving a name. So we'll just sort of have to wait and see what the Hurricane Center wants to do with this. They kind of have that up to their call as whether or not they're going to want to name this or not. It will not have an impact on the United States. This will stay out for sure. Eventually, if it were to form into a subtropical system, it gets into the colder waters and some stronger winds, and it's not going to be able to keep itself together. But it could be that last name on the list for this year, and that is Wanda. So we've been waiting for Wanda for a while, and that could be the system in a subtropical form to receive the last name on this year's list. Glad you found us here on YouTube. If you want to, in YouTube, search for meteorologist John Dawson, you're going to be able to find all of my YouTube channel, and you'll see all of the hurricane gear tests that I've done this year and the last couple of years, helping to kind of keep you organized and prepared. It'd be great if you wanted to subscribe to that channel as well to kind of keep up to date on some of those things I've been testing. And mainly it's not specific products I want you to focus on. It's just the ideas and the concepts of the different things that we're looking at that you could kind of keep your plans ready for. And of course, it'd be great also if you wanted to follow me on social media, the other social media. You could find me at John Dawson, Fox 26.